Is still pouring in tonight after President Obama announces he will be making an historic visit to Cuba.
And some of his critics are even asking the president to call it off. Victor Oquendo is live in Miami's Little Havana neighborhood with the latest.
Well, Lori and Calvin, the White House says that this trip is all about helping the Cuban people. But there are people here who have their doubts about that, while others say that it is an important step in the new era of relations between the United States and Cuba.
They've already met 3 times, but never in Havana. Thursday, President Barack Obama announced his March trip to Raul Castro's Cuba in a series of tweets. 14 months into the new historic relationship, there's been progress on trade and travel. Cuba's opened up internet access, but the same can't be said for human rights.
There is no justification for President Obama to make a visit to Cuba before any real and substantive democratic reforms are made by the Castro regime.
Dissidents continue to take beatings. According to the Cuban Commission on Human Rights, there were more than 1,400 arbitrary detentions in January of this year alone. Last year, more than 8,600.
They like what they have. They have absolute power. Unless they're pressured, unless there's a real international consensus led by the U.S. for democracy in Cuba, they will hold on as long as they can.
President Obama does plan to meet with dissidents, something Pope Francis didn't do in his visit.
He's going to be sending messages to the Cuban government that it is time to think about how to create a more inclusive, pluralistic, democratic society.
Reactions from locals differ, of course, depending on age and political beliefs.
My problem is that the Castro regime still controls the island.
So all that stuff is in the past. New generation now, new set of minds. I think it's great.
And one person President Obama will not meet with on his trip is Fidel Castro. We're in Little Havana tonight. I'm Victor Oquendo, Local 10 News.
Okay, Victor, thanks.
And Local 10 News will have live coverage from Cuba for the president's visit. Look for Calvin to lead our coverage in late March.